In 2022, I was stuck in a 9-to-5 manufacturing job. I hated every single day of it, and I knew remote work was the only way out. And so, like everyone did, I started applying, sending resumes almost everywhere. I applied to LinkedIn, Indeed, and every single remote jobs that I could find. And guess what? Nothing came back. No calls, no interviews, just complete total silence. So I did what everyone does. I went down the YouTube rabbit hole. I watched dozens of YouTube videos. I didn't even know how many videos I watched. Resume tips, cover letter hacks, LinkedIn tricks. I tried everything, but still nothing, no results. Until I found one specific way to format a resume job that nobody was explaining clearly. I applied, I got the interview, and finally I got the job. That was 3 years ago, working directly with Charlie Chang, a famous finance YouTube creator, as his PM, working remotely. And 3 years later, here I am. I updated that same resume, same framework, and guess what? Last month, I got hired as a YouTube strategist working at Clickables. This video is everything I wish someone would have told me on how to create an ATS-friendly resume for remote jobs 5 years ago. I'm going to walk you through my exact resume template, section by section, in the exact order it appears. So by the end of this video, you have everything you need to build one that actually works and get you your first remote job. Before we build anything, you need to understand one thing. ATS, what the hell is even an ATS? It's a software that 98% of companies use to scan resumes before a human ever reads them. And guess what? Remote companies rely on it even more because one job posting can pull out 500 to 2,000 applicants from all over the world simultaneously. And here's how it actually works. Recruiters type specific keywords into a search field. If your resume contains those words, it directly appears. And what if it doesn't? That means you don't even exist in the result. That means your chances of getting a remote job without that keyword that they were looking for, say bye-bye. You just became invisible. And that's what was happening to me back in 2022. My resume wasn't bad. I literally spent hours on it. But the thing is, it just wasn't readable by the system. And once I understood that, I literally rebuilt everything. And this is the template I use. And let's go through it from top to bottom. So here's what my complete resume looks like at a glance. We have 6 sections, single column, very clean. What I meant by very clean, I meant no photos, no colors, and no jargon icons. And we're going through each one right now, starting from the top. So section 1, we got the name and also the contact information. This is the very top of your resume. So here's what exactly goes here. Your full name, it's bold, slightly larger font than the rest of the document, right? And it makes it easy to find. And then we also have a professional email address, not a nickname. As you can see here, it's eggy.steven@gmail.com. There's no like fancy underscore or something to do with your kids or dog's name. And it's literally my first name and also my last name. And if it's taken, maybe you can also put a number, but that's it. And then we have your city and country for remote jobs. You don't need a full address. Literally, I don't even put my full address. I just put Jakarta, Indonesia, or where you're currently staying in. And city is enough. They want to actually know your time zone and not your street. And then we have also my LinkedIn URL. I customize it so it's clean. As you can see here, it's very professional, which is linkedin.com/in/your name. Not the default one with the random number at the end. And moving on, section 2. This is your professional summary. It's basically 3 to 4 sentences directly below your contact details. And this is the first thing that a recruiter actually reads. In today's age, we call that the hook, if you're a content creator just like me. But this is the part where most people lose the interview before they actually know it. Because your hook is your strongest impression. And most summaries look like this. I am a motivated and detail-oriented professional seeking an opportunity to grow in a dynamic remote environment. That sentence is entirely about what you want. And the recruiter, they're very strict. They do not care what you want. They care about what is the value you bring to the team. So here's the formula I use. Your professional identity, it's who you are in one line. And we've got your relevant experience, it's what you've done and also where. And the next one is the key results you've actually delivered. And this part of my resume, I said, managing content system for a top tier finance creator. It's something measurable and it would be best if you could actually put a percentage or what you have accomplished in a data sense. Right now in my CV, I haven't put that yet, but there's always room for improvement, right? And then next, we move on to your tool. tools. This is the software that I actually use. So I mentioned in my resume, I say proficient in ClickUp, YouTube Analytics, and also Microsoft Sheet. It literally defines the tools that I use on a day-to-day basis. And then finally, which is your remote intent. Here I said seeking a senior remote role in creator operations or content strategy. So basically, this is it. If you're earlier in your career and you don't even have any experience yet, that's completely fine. I was there before and I survived. The key thing here is to actually frame what you have. Customer service becomes communication and problem-solving skills. University projects, if you have that, put that in your resume, it can become research and deadline management. This means you already have the skills. You just need to frame that for remote work. And moving on, section 3, key skills. This sits right below your summary. As you can see here, I got 9 skills. The format I like to use is 8 to 12 skills, and that's it. If possible, like 5 to 8 is also very good. It shows that you're really concise on what are the skills you put in there. But here's the rule that completely changed everything. These are not your favorite skills. These are not even the skills you're most proud of. These are the skills pulled directly from the job description that you're actually applying for. Every time you apply for a new role, you read the job description. You find the words they repeat and you use their exact language. If they say asynchronous communication, write asynchronous communication, not remote teamwork, team collaboration, their exact words, which in this case, for example, is asynchronous communication. If they say Notion, write Notion again, not a project management software. ATS is a database. It searches for exact matches, or close one or adjacent to that doesn't even count. My process is very simple. I literally use this prompt, which says, I'm going to paste a full job description below. I want you to analyze it like an ATS applicant tracking system and hiring manager combined. As you can see here on the part where it says paste job description here, I'm going to literally copy and just paste. And voila, it will directly show me the priority keywords, which is the high frequency and also the strategic importance and what needs to be in my resume. As you can see in my skill section, we're showing keywords like click-through rates and also thumbnails. So this tells the ATS that, hey, this resume is what they're looking for. Now, doing this manually, which is copy pasting into ChatGPT and also going back and forth into your new tab to rewrite your resume takes tedious amount of time. When I was rebuilding my resume, I find this the most annoying and also the most boring part. And so what I did is I started using Teal. It's a free AI-powered resume builder. And this process became automatic. You paste in the job description and Teal pulls out the priority keywords grouped by hard skills, soft skills, and the job description section. It even flags which words appears in multiple sections, which tells you exactly what companies cares the most about. You can also import your entire LinkedIn profile into Teal, so you're not building from a blank page. It pulls your experience, roles, and skills automatically. And this is completely free to start, and the link is down in the description below. Section 4, work experience. This is the heart of your resume. And here's where you put your most recent role first. And what you need to do here is to always reverse chronologically in order. For each role, you want to mention your job title, your company name, dates, and whether or not it was remote. Write remote next to your location. This is a small detail that remote companies immediately notice. Now, the bullet points. This is where most resumes almost fail. Most people write bullet points like it's a task list. The most common mistake when people write their resume is something along the lines like, I manage social media accounts, or I assisted with building ... or I assisted with scheduling, or I supported the team with various projects. Notice how it seems too vague. It's also passive, which literally could describe a lot of meanings to anyone looking at your resume. And here's the formula that I always follow and which can quickly fix your resume. And trust me, this is not me making up stuff, but Google actually teaches this. In your job description with that bullet points, you need to actually say accomplished X as measured by Y by doing Z. Result first, metric second, and method third. So instead of saying I manage YouTube operations, I would write something along the lines like increase video click-through rate by 29% over 2 years by implementing systematic A/B testing on titles and thumbnails. One line, scale, result, and method. When I was writing my job description bullet points for a position I would like to get into Charlie's project manager, I didn't list what I actually did in my previous company. I wrote the value I gave and what changed because I was there. That's the shift that gets you callback and those remote interviews. And one rule that most people don't realize, your first bullet point under each role is the most important one. Recruiters, they skim top to bottom, and that first line decides whether they will entirely read your resume. And this is why you don't save your best job description all the way at the bottom. I want you to lead with it. My quick tip is aim for 3 to 5 bullet points per role, and each bullet point should have actually a data statistic or a number behind it. And this is where a lot of recruiters will get intrigued by the numbers you put in your job description bullet points. And most of the time, this always happens. Section 5, education. It's short, simple, and near the bottom, unless you're a fresh graduate with no work experience, in which case you move it all the way to the top. If you recently graduated, I want you to add your GPA only if it's strong. Add 1 or 2 relevant courses if they directly relate to the role that you're applying in. But if you've been working for more than a few years, I want you to keep this section minimal. A recruiter hiring for a remote operations role doesn't need to know your high school GPA from 2015. So no bullet points under education. If you want to add your university bullet points, keep it very, very concise. That's only if you have 1 or 2 years of work experience. Keep this section very brief, no expanded description. 1 clean entry per qualification. And the last section is section 6. And this is one of the most important ones for remote roles specifically. And this is where you list your relevant certification and the tools you're proficient in. For remote work, tools is highly considered very, very important. I would say almost just the same as skill, because your tools are your entire working environment. You don't have an office, but what you do have is the skill to use that software. I want you to think Google Work certification, HubSpot, Notion, ClickUp, any platform directly relevant to the role you're applying for. And be selective. Don't list every tool you've ever touched. List the one that directly appears in the job description and the ones that show you understand how remote operation actually run. One thing I always tell people who comes to me, Eggy, how can I write my remote resume? If you're applying for a role and you don't have the certification they listed, I want you to get it before you apply. Most of these are free or cheap. There are some where you can actually learn in the weekend, and max you can actually learn in 6 months. Before you send anything right now to apply for a remote job position, here are the formatting rules that keep your resume ATS readable. The first one is single column only. No 2-column layouts. I know it sounds fancy to have 2-column layouts, but again, no sidebars. The ATS reads top to bottom, and anything else like your profile picture, icons, colors, they just scrambles the data. The second one is standard font. I want you to always opt for Calibri, Cambria, or even Arial with size 11 minimum, black text, and white background. And the third part is no jargon such as photos, icons, or any fancy graphics. They break ATS parsing. I want you to remove all of them. And the fourth one is to save as a PDF. Not a Word document, nor even an image. PDF gives you format consistency across all devices and systems. And the last one is to always keep your resume within 475 to 600 words in total. Research from a study over 125,000 resumes shows this is actually the sweet spot where interviews rates peak, and 77% of people fall outside this range. And again, check your word count before actually sending in your resume. And here's a bonus. I want you to name your file properly. Here's the format that you always should follow. Your first name, your second name, followed by your role name and resume, not CV or resume final. Resume final version 3. Hiring managers are opening hundreds or even thousands of files. Make yours identifiable immediately. And that's the complete template. 6 sections from top to bottom. You have your contact information, professional summary, key skills, work experience, educations, certifications, and tools. This is the exact structure that got me out of my manufacturing 9-to-5 job back in 2022. The same structure that kept on working every time I apply for an ideal remote position. But here's the thing, building resume, that's only the first step. What you do after you apply, this is the most crucial thing. And it's the difference between 1 of 1,000 applicants and being the one that they actually remember. So here's my bonus for every one of you watching until the end of this video. What to do after you send your resume. So you've built the resume that I've told you about. It's clean, it's ATS optimized, it's tailored and curated, and you've sent it. Now you wait, right? That's what everyone else does. Think about that other side of the inbox. I want you to place yourself as a hiring recruiting manager. Their job is to only post one role, and they receive 500 to 2,000 applicants for a single job posting. And every single one of those people has a resume. And guess what? Most of them are decent. The resume gets you into that consideration pile. It's like saying, I might think about this later. What happened next is where you get hired. And I want you to keep in mind 3 things. Almost nobody ever does this. The first step is to send a Loom video to your hiring manager. Remote companies, they can't actually meet you in person for that offline interview. And that's the whole premise. But that also means they're actually making a hiring decision about someone they've never actually met or physically met offline. And that's a risk. Every hiring manager is trying to reduce that risk. So give them something valuable that no resume can actually give this out. Your face, your energy, and your voice. Find the hiring managers on LinkedIn, or you can actually send your Loom along with your resume. I want you to record a 2-minute Loom addressed to them by the company's hiring staff, team, or if you've known that person, their name. I want you to reference something specific about the company or the role. This is to showcase that you actually did your research. Nothing like a scripted pitch. Just be direct. Something along the lines like, hey, I applied for this role. Here's exactly why I'm genuinely excited about this. Here's one specific thing I'd bring to the team in the first 30 days. Out of 1,000 applicants, congratulations. Maybe 5 people actually did their homework and did this. You, my friend, will be remembered. The second part is where I want you to bring irrelevant deliverables to the interview itself. The biggest fear a remote hiring manager carries into every interview is this. Can this person actually execute something? Your resume says yes. References say yes. He's a wonderful person. But nothing removes that fear like just doing it. Before your first interview, I want you to do this. Do a small piece of irrelevant work for this role, unprompted and unrequested. If you're someone like me who's applying for a YouTube strategist remote role, I would do something along the line like a brief channel audit. Maybe you're applying for a customer service remote role or a data entry position for a remote role. I want you to actually analyze the existing data or showcase your customer service session towards them. It could be like a role play or even something along the line. These are 2 or 3 specific observations. 1 clear recommendation, 1 page. You're not doing their job for free. What you're doing is that you're eliminating the biggest risk of them hiring you. I want you to bring it to the interview or attach it to your Loom. Either way, it signals and makes you stand out that most candidates never did to bother. You take actual initiative before anyone else tells you to do something. Without mentioning proactive as your soft skills, it already shows that you're this type of specific person. And that, my friend, is a +1 point. And the final thing I want you to do is to make your LinkedIn match your resume. Here's what happened every single time a remote hiring manager shortlists a candidate. They open LinkedIn. Of course, it's 2026. It's not like 1985. If your profile is a ghost, it's blanked, showcasing no work experience, or you've updated it when you first started signing up for LinkedIn and left it blank. And even if your resume is perfect, nobody is going to hire you. Your LinkedIn needs to tell the same exact story as your resume. Same titles, same timelines, and same level of polish. So then again, it's like a double verification standard. But to make yourself stand out is activity. I want you to actually follow the company before you apply. Engage with their post. If possible, connect with 1 or 2 members thoughtfully. Not a generic message where LinkedIn always gives you that template message. Thank you for sharing this. Congratulations. Happy birthday. But something specific to the work or job relevant posting that they've been posting about. Remote hiring managers, although they might not entirely see this, some of the members might actually see this and are friends with the remote hiring managers, and they may be even curious to know a little bit about you because it shows that you're not job blasting remote position here and there. You're generally interested in them. And if it's possible, you can post 1 or 2 pieces of content that demonstrates your expertise in the area you're applying to. And that's a profile that builds trust before the first conversation ever starts. Back in 2022, I left my LinkedIn completely empty, like it's a ghost. I never even touched it nor do anything about it. I didn't think it mattered. Right now, I still have that same kind of problem, but here again, I'm always updating every single job description that I learned in my current remote job, even posting that I got hired in this new position, commenting on people that I have networks in, and voila, last month I got hired remotely. So just to recap, I want you to build your resume step step by step. Your contact information, your summary, your skills, experience, educations, and even certifications. Make it a single column and keyword match every application. If you're having struggle with this, I highly recommend for you to use Teal down below to make your life simple. And I want you to lead every bullet point with the result. Then after you apply, the most valuable thing you can actually do is to send them a quick message on their email, send them a loom, and bring the deliverable that you can actually show something that you can solve or showcase your skills. And finally, clean up your LinkedIn profile and do a little bit of job posting and also interact with the people within that role. And most people stop at send because they're just too bored or they're just too lazy. But you're different and you've watched this video until the end, and I'm very much grateful for you. I went from a manufacturing office desk with zero remote experience to building a career with some of the greatest creators in the YouTube industry. We're talking about Charlie Chang, Ali Abdal, Ramit Sethi, and a bunch of other creators. This template is what opened the door. Now it's yours. If you love this video, I don't want you to just finish this video and forget about it. You can actually follow along as I'm actually walking you through this step by step. I want you to drop a comment down below. What remote role are you going after in 2026? And again, I always read every one of them and I always reply. The free ChatGPT Prompt and Teal is linked down below. And if you find value in this video, I want you to also watch my other videos right here. Well, again, please like, subscribe, and this is it from Maggie, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.